We're going to start obviously at a very good place to start, which is the opening race of the entire festival. It's the Sky Bet Supreme Novices Hurdle, and we have a 3-1 favourite currently in Melon from the Willie Mullins yard. We're going to see Melon winning his maiden hurdle here at Leopardstown on the 29th of January.
Back in third place, running on is Prince Charming and then Mystic Heights and Cross My Mind, but it's Melon the leader, easing away, coming down to the final flight. Melon and Ruby Walsh at the last took a bit of a chance at it, but survived. They're clear now from Broken Soul and up towards the finish. Melon, who came into this race with a total reputation, is clear running towards the finish. Wins it hard held, Melon, for Ruby Walsh and Willie Mullins. Second is Broken Soul. Prince Charming is third and Cross My Mind is fourth, and then Billy's Angel, Mystic Heights and Diamond Warrior next.
Couch, I'm going to throw the first question to you, and I mean obviously the Irish have a great record in this race. We've won 11 of the last 16 runnings, but to me Melon looks a false favourite at around 5-2, 3-1.
Yeah, it's very hard to back him, isn't it, after just a one run over hurdles. Interesting out in France, he only run, in flat races in France. He didn't have didn't run any points. Willie was pointing out that he did the same thing with 5 for 3 when he won the Neptune, but that also been point to point in bumpers. He had a much more national more experience. The last horse to actually win the Supreme, having only had one run over hurdles, was Flown back in 1992. I think Jack was crawling around in his underpants then, wasn't it, 1992. So it's a big ask for me. It wasn't even born, sorry.
He was actually 8 years away from being born at that stage, Couch.
That fucking shows my age, makes me feel old, doesn't it?
Must be 107.
You're close, I feel 107 sometimes, Dennis. I can't have Melon just because of that stat against it. You just see on the VT there, he's had a guess up at the last. There's a very good horse in it, English horse called Neon Wolf. I think it's an exceptional animal. It won up at Haddock, won a grade 2 in a faster time recorded by the new one. It was rated 160 odd, and Nigel Twiston-Davies thinks he's going to win a champion hurdle, and I think I'm still going to get a cheque from Cheryl Cole. We're both going to be fucking disappointed, aren't we? But Neon Wolf won't run unless the ground's soft. There's been fortunes for him for the Neptune later on, but I backed him non-runner, no bet. Baddy Andy and Move with the Times, they're both gone up 12 and £15 for the handicap, are completely fucking their marks up before the bet fair. Why Michael O'Leary didn't have a go at him over that instead of the horses in the National, I don't know. But you wouldn't want to be Phil Smith on a fucking Ryanair plane, would you, right? Can you imagine when he gets on, got a special seat for you, Mr. Smith? Fucking 10,000 feet, boom, the old ejector seat goes up. He'll have nothing on Goldfinger Smith going 10,000 miles, would he? You wouldn't, if you was Willie Mullins, you wouldn't got the Ryanair flight, neither would you, coming over? And Neil Wolf is the one for me in this race. I agree with you about Melon, I couldn't take him on. I thought Crap Mo might run well, a big price with his second string. I thought would have won last time, but for that bad mistake. But Neil Wolf for me, and take Melon on.
Davy Willie has a great record in the race. He won it with Champagne Fever, Vauturin, Duvan in 3 straight years, was just touched off with Min last year, and he's got a big hand in the race. But Bunkoff Early, who travelled really well in the Delight, I mean, you'd have to think a strongly run race over 2 miles might suit Bunkoff Early.
Yeah, I disagree slightly, as in he's by Zebedee, and I didn't think a strongly run anything wouldn't suit him. 7 furlongs seems to be the stretch of them. I think stepping up to grade 1 on a Supreme Novices, I think he'll still be found out by the hill. It'll be interesting if Bunkoff Early is a better horse than Melon, Ruby will ride him, so that'll be. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
It's around about 75 or something like that.
Yeah.
7 furlongs or something.
Yeah, I can't have him at all. I ride a horse called Conrad Hastings in it. He's going to struggle too. Moon Racer probably brings the best form to the race, but he's very fragile, and he would be very hard to tell anyone back him. Ballyandy, if they don't run him in the Coral Cup, they're off their heads. He's got 10-13 at the moment. I think he's a fucking shoo-in in the Coral Cup. But saying that, Hardy Eustace had the option of running in the Coral Cup as well, and they skipped it to run the Champion Hurdle, and he won that. So, but off 10-13, he looks to be a snip in that. And the horse I think in the race is Finian's Oscar. What he done this year is beyond extraordinary. He was running a point a couple of months ago, and then obviously he's had his 3 runs over hurdles. He's a Grade 1 winner, albeit a bad race. I just love the way he does things. He jumps extremely well. As the coach mentioned about 5 for 3, he's got loads of experience under his belt. He's after winning a point, he's 3 starts over hurdles in a short space of time. For me, he probably could be potentially the best horse in the race. And I think the 2 mile race on the first day, where the ground is going to be at its easiest if they're not going to get rain, the way he jumps and travels through a race, he's the horse for me, Finian's Oscar. He's also in the Neptune, but I think the 2 mile, even he could force the pace in the Supreme Novice.
Brian Flanagan, I mean, Melon could be something special, but by and large, this looks a fairly average renewal of the Supreme Novices.
Yeah, I would have agreed with you a couple of weeks ago, but I think in the last few weeks it just appears to have sort of upped it a notch, and suddenly now it suddenly has appeared to be a good race. I thought it was interesting what Willie said about Melon the other day at his press day. I think he has about 5 in the race, but he said, I think it'll be an easy decision for Ruby who he's going to ride. He didn't say, but I mean, reading between the lines, he's obviously talking about Melon. Surprised the 2 lads have dismissed Moonracer so easily, because I know he may be fragile, but I think he's, his form is pretty good. Like, he won the bumper 2 years ago. I think Yanworth was in that, and he's second favourite or favourite for the champion hurdle. And then I think he ran in Punchestown last year and was second in a really, really good bumper. And then he came out before Christmas, and I think he beat Move at the Times fairly handy. So, like, he's a proper professional horse. I mean, they were even talking about running them in the champion hurdle. They may still do. So I think Moonracer's going to take all the beating. I think he really sets the standard. One little outsider that I was trying to keep an eye on was a horse of Willie's, Sirius Emery. I think Jack beat him on Big Jazz. Caused a bit of a surprise, but I think that was a good race. There's always one race in the year where there's 2 horses take each other on, finish about 10 lengths clear of the rest, and you tend to dismiss the one that was beaten, but very often the 2 of them are...
Mick Jazz has 10-8 in the county or the club.
Well, then he's a certainty.
Jack said he rides me a bit small in his face.
He has to beat Ballyandy.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't smile all that often.
Big Jazz won't be too far away in whatever handicap he goes for, so... Sirius Emery is not a bad price.
You have to warn the crowd before they listen to Jack talking, it'll be really slow. And I'm from Kerry, and I don't know. And Jack has, Mick Jazz got a chance in, I don't know. And, whatever Gordon says. Just remember he's from fucking Kerry.
Thanks very much, David.
Well, I'm married to a Kerry woman, so I know.
Thanks a million, lads. Jack, has Mick Jazz got a good chance in the county hurdle?
Yeah. He's probably one of the only ones that I know for sure I'm riding yet, but I'm looking forward to riding him. I think he'll have a very good chance on his run the last day. He's a very progressive horse.
And given the chance of riding something in the Supreme Novices at this stage, Jack, what would you run for?
I'd go at Moonracer. I agree 100%.
Brian?
Yeah, with Brian. He has some very good form, so I'd be going with him. I actually was second in Melon's race in Leopardstown, and I wouldn't say it was a very strong race.
Yeah, that horse that Melon beat hasn't done much since, has it, John?
No, he hasn't done much, so I'd agree that he's kind of a false favourite.
Yeah, Andy, the Supreme Novices have been a huge amount of hot pots for this down through the years, and just looking at the stats, 4 of the last 18 horses to have started at odds of 3-1 or shorter, only 4 of the last 18 have actually won the race. So it is a race that people will latch onto a horse, they will back it to death, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're the best horse in the race.
How can they make Melon
The bookies, it's a scam. Like it's a complete scam. The bookies are complete cowards for the run-of-the-mill punter that I'd say 95% of the lads are here. To compare Melon to Mean,
there's been a whole load of them. Even they didn't all win. There was the big beautiful horse a couple of years ago, and killed beforehand.
There's been plenty of hot pots that have been beaten down through the years. Cardinal Hill and a whole load of others.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have got beaten. No, he was unlucky.
Yeah.
He fell at the second last 2.5 speed. But like
Hunt Alexander and those.
Yeah, but even comparison to the horses that won it, that went off at the same price. Min, who's graded winners, multiple hurdle winner.
They all won the Delight.
Willie thinks Min would have won last year if he hadn't made the mistake. Willie thinks he would have beat Altior.
The mistake of Altior being in the race.
Well, there you go. That's how much.
I'll tell the reason the punters are all back in this horse of Willie's. It's the only fucking one of his who's turned up this year.
But the only thing
we can't knock Melon too much. He's gone out and he's absolutely pissed in his only performance. So yeah, but his price is no value.
Yeah, and like he was actually 9-2 the other day, and Willie came out and said there's no doubt about who Ruby's going to ride, and he think he's definitely his best horse in the race, and that's why his price contracted.
They obviously think so, but they don't have a whole lot else this year. Only they 4 or 5 gone for it.
Yeah.
And it was a good performance. He absolutely pissed in, and he had loads of running left. But what he's done, he's no experience going there. It's his only run over hurdles, and it actually wasn't even. A lot of horses run a competitive, albeit a novice, it's not as busy as a handicap. But he went around in a shit maiden hurdle and sauntered around and beat an ordinary horse.
Beat very little.
He's, you could do that at home in a hack around. So he's got absolutely minimal experience to qualify for.
And it's an interesting stat that the couch had that the last horse to win in one run was Flown. Yeah, Rob, you've got the right to reply here. I mean, obviously,
No, they have the right to not.
3-1 looks a skinny, price, but I mean, I suppose you got to put something up as a favourite.
Yeah, well, listen, as I was saying at the previews we've done, he's the biggest loser of the week for us. That's obviously why he's the price. There's no doubt about it. If you haven't backed him, don't back him until.
No,
but you're saying he's the biggest loser.
No, when the lad went in and asked, you won behind the counter 33-1, can I have a fiver? And he said, no, you can have 250.
There must be someone backing him if you're saying he's your biggest loser.
Well, he's
owned by a bookmaker, which is not a bad start.
Yeah, they backed we laid him last April at 33s, and the week before he ran.
Genuinely, no, I'm not being smart, but genuinely, like if you had a couple of bets at 33-1, that's a bit. There wasn't a whole load of that now, and we'll say genuinely might have been for a tenner, a couple of tenors.
I was just told we've laid him at 33s, so you can make whatever you think about that.
Okay, we all know we think about that one, don't we?